Hi, I'm your son America Shari is here with another episode of Dr. USA. Donald Trump was the summit G7, and I'm gonna react to what he said. I was just watching it. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Like the whole segment is like 1 hour. He talks for 40 minutes and answers questions for 20 minutes. But those questions that he answers, I haven't finished now, so I'm going to react live to it. But while we are watching together, those questions and the answers were way more fruitful than entire his speech. His speech, he weaves around and keep talking about unrelated stuff, and in the end, it was very vague. But when they ask questions from him, and they put him in the box to tell the answer, and it's crazy to me because normally Trump has lost his marbles and he's a sluggish, lazy, and then you feel like he's demented, he has dementia. This time he was very sharp, and the way he was answering question and talking, like I would say, like, where have you been? That's a new Trump. Like, it's kind of the Trump that we expected when we voted for him, but it was gone for 15 minutes. I don't have any hope. I'm not saying he's back. I'm not saying but it's kind of crazy. Like I was saying, like, are you that stupid you don't understand what you're talking about? But right now, the way that he's talking means he knew all the time what he was talking about, but the way that he was talking was for his political move, like he was doing 5D chess stuff. But I don't care, regardless. Like, he shouldn't have started the war, and I'm not even hopeful if they're gonna have a deal, because after the memorandum of understanding, it's gonna be 60 days window to talk about that, so they could finalize a deal. So on Friday in Geneva, Switzerland, they're gonna sign the deal, and after that, the negotiation starts. There's a 14 point plan. Maybe I'll talk about that what they are, but in general, it's like don't nuke, don't buy nuke, don't get the nuke, and don't fight each other. A couple of other promises. But let me go through answers. Like, those questions and answers in the end, they were very useful, more useful than even J.D. Vance was in Megyn Kelly talking, all this stuff. So let's go there and then see what we do.
And we'll be talking about that tonight. So with that all said, if you want to ask us any questions, feel free to ask the people behind me. Peter?
Bonjour. You've been clear, President Trump, the United States is not going to directly pay Iran, but the U.S. is going to let the Iranians start making billions of dollars, selling oil, accessing this region.
Only if they're doing things right. Only if, Peter, we're not doing anything. We're not putting up money. Only if they're doing things right. If they're doing things right, if people want to invest, they can invest. But they have this $300 million fund. It's only $300 billion fund. It's only if they're doing things right. Remember this also, when you talk about billions of dollars, they've had much more than $1 trillion worth of damage done. They got a long way. They'll be 15 to 20 years to rebuild what they have right now. So they have to behave themselves. If they're not behaving, they get hit again. They'll be hit again, because we can do it very easily. It's going to take a long way for them to build back their anti-aircraft stuff. And the other thing I want to thank, China, President Xi, I was with him, and he stayed neutral, totally neutral, and I appreciate it. And I want to thank Vladimir Putin. He was very neutral. They could have made it much more difficult for us. And I want to say, somebody would say, oh, that's terrible. He's thinking President Xi of China. Well, let me tell you, I had a long talk with him. They have shoulder weapons to knock down airplanes. It's not like the real deal, but they're accurate. They're fairly accurate. I said, I would really appreciate you're not giving or selling any of that stuff to Iran. And you know what? For the most part, he didn't. So I just want to thank them, because they made it a lot better.
Explain, though, what the difference is between giving Iran U.S. dollars and unfreezing U.S. dollars.
Well, the unfreezing is an easy one to answer. We have taken a lot of their money, and we have their money. We have taken their money. It's not our money. It's their money, and we froze it. At a certain point in time, I guess we're going to have to give it back. If we didn't give it back, nobody would ever invest in a dollar again. If you took their money, because I thought about it, I'm not the most perfect person. I said to Scott, why do we keep their money? What the hell are we giving it back to them? But, people from lots of nations, some nations we don't agree with, they have their money. The dollars become very strong under me, and they don't want to have a little conflict with somebody and end up having the United States just take their money. So if you do that, you really don't have a system.
A wise man once said in January of 2020, Iran never won a war, but never lost a negotiation.
Who said that?
Donald Trump.
No, that's what I thought you were going to say.
So how do you go back to the United States and convince a skeptical American public that this deal...
Well, look, here they lost militarily, okay? It's very tough, because I know that no matter what, if I would go, by the way, if I go another 3 or 4 weeks, the same people that are critical would say, he went too long, he should have done it, no matter what. If they raised the white flag of surrender, and if they said, praise be to Allah, Donald Trump is the greatest president ever, we totally concede, we totally give up, this war's over, we have failed. The New York Times and CNN and a couple of others, they're not all that dishonest, they say, Iran had a great victory, okay? They practically do that. It's amazing, when we knocked out their last ship, they had 159 ships, when we knocked out the last ship, the Times refused to do a story on it. They said, they don't have a Navy, and you don't want to do a story on it. They don't have an Air Force, you don't want to do a story. We need a fair press, and that's why they're all doing so badly, because they lost credibility. When I win in a landslide, and I had 93% bad press, they take good stories about me and make it bad. But the only reason that happened is because they have so little, the media has so little credibility that the people voted for me. 93% of the stories on network, ABC is horrible, I think ABC is the worst, NBC is terrible, and CBS is terrible, CNN obviously. And I never get good stories. No matter what I do, I can do the greatest thing. I won't get good stories on this. I'll get it from Fair Media. I'll get it from all over the world. They're running good. But no matter what I do, I'm going to get bad press. I know that. Now, if I did the opposite, if I went out and continued to bomb them for another 4, just bomb the hell out of them, I get bad press on that. No, there's nothing I can do. But what this does is it allows the ships to go. If we keep bombing, those ships will be going. And you're talking about $500, $600, $700 million a day. It's a lot of money. A lot of money. That's why the world is okay. It's liquid. It's fine. Also, we run out of reserves in about 4 weeks. There are reserves all over the world, and we would really run out. And there'll be a time when you wouldn't be able to get it. And you want to see bedlam? So for all those so-called geniuses that want to show me how smart they are, ask them why didn't they blow up General Salamini. Ask that of the general and a couple of other people that I like very much, but boy, are they wrong. Go ahead. How about you? Thank you, Peter. I give you more, Peter, but people say I like you too much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Bonsoir.
You know, he told me that first day in office, he asked me 7 questions. I answered all of them. Is this true? He said, he just answered more questions in one meeting than Joe Biden did in 4 years. Okay, you know, I'm not going to get you in trouble, but that's what he said. Go ahead.
All right. Couple of things in here that were very important. One of them, he admitted in 4 weeks we would run out of the oil reserve that we have, and after that, like exponentially, the oil price is gonna go higher. So he just said that plain out. And the reason that he said, like, stuff that he said right now, we have been saying to him, but he was acting like, what are you talking about? And we were saying, are you that dumb, or you are not getting good briefing? But right now that he's admitting all of them and he's talking about all of them, let me put it in here. It means what? It means he knew that all along, but he just couldn't say that because it would help the Iran, or it would tie his hands during the negotiation, whatever. So it means he was aware of all of those problems that we were mentioning to him. One of them, as he mentioned, was Iran would have if the war continued for 4 more weeks, it would, exactly, we said in mid-July that we run out of the oil reserve and it would be done. And even right now, we are lowest of oil reserve since the creation of it. It means in the entire history of reserving oil, having a stockpile, we are at the lowest and we would crash. The economy would crash. So he explained that, like, what did you expect me to do that? Do it for 2 more weeks? And you know that 2 more weeks, nothing gonna change. We just keep bombing them, and then the strait gonna be closed. As he said, like, we can bomb them, but the strait is closed, and then we're gonna have the crash. And then he said, so many people, we asked them, they're very stupid, I like them, but when I said that, you know that where we are heading, and people, oh, Mr. President, we don't care. So he was mentioning that. And then also one other thing, like we always said to him, you talk about that unfreezing their money, but it is their money already, we have to give it to them. And then he said, I'm not perfect person, as he said, like, but I said, that's their money. So it is very important to, whenever people, I think the reason right now he is so forthcoming and he's truthful and he's coming and honest and he says the stuff that we have been saying. So whenever they want to use that in media against him, so he could use it. I think he didn't mention these parts because he wanted to use leverage on the negotiation, but right now that his hands are empty and he's getting attacked from the neocons and his base and also other news media out there, outlet inside United States back home, what he's doing is, okay, let me put everything out so they hear that from the mouth, president's mouth, so they know that that's a fact, because somebody who gets briefing most accurately in the world, in the United States, is the president. And then he's saying, like, okay, it is their money. So next time when he said, why are you releasing the money? He says, but it's not money, their money. We were saying that. We were saying you are blocking the money. The second thing, as I was saying, I want dollar to be strong. So if you just keep freezing people's dollar, people will stop buying dollar. They stop getting dollar. They say, oh, it is not safe. I can have dollar and not have it. So he says, I need them to have my dollar in order to have it strong. Because if I keep saying, don't use my dollar, don't use my dollar, eventually nobody gonna have the dollar. It's not gonna be as strong. So one other advantage we get by unfreezing their own money, which is theirs, is basically we keep it usable. And in the end, he said, like, there are 91 million people starving. So, like, for going to the war with them, should I really starve them, just bomb them? And then he explained a little more in length about that when somebody else asked question. Okay.
In the art of the deal, you write about the importance of leverage. Obviously, you have a lot of leverage when it comes to Iran, whether it's militarily or through economic sanctions. What leverage, sir, do you have when it comes to Israel and Hezbollah to ensure that they abide by the ceasefire?
Well, I think we have leverage just by the fact that we really have Iran now has to be good. They have to behave, and we might help. That's a much smaller conflict. It's a conflict that should be able to be over with. I'm surprised it's taken so long. And it's a much smaller, but we have a lot of leverage. We have the greatest military anywhere in the world. We have the strongest, most powerful. Look at the blockade. By the way, the blockade was more impactful than all of the bombing raids where we dropped $1 billion worth of bombs on Iran. The blockade was so incredible. The naval blockade, the admiral, the whole thing, not one ship got through. That meant no money got through. They were done. They had no money. They have inflation that's 250 or 300%. They have no money. We have tremendous leverage. We have the leverage of the economy, as an example. We'll get that done. That's a small one, and we'll work with Israel and get it done. But I'd like to do it. I mean, you have people living there. Buildings are being dropped on top of them or right alongside of them. How would you like to live there? It's so unfair, especially Beirut. You know, you go into Beirut, and I looked at the scene 2 days ago, yesterday, where they hit. That was a big hit. That was unnecessary in my book. Yeah, please.
2 questions. If you could clarify something you said just a few minutes ago. One of the goals of Epic Fury going into it, you said was
Say it again, speak up.
sorry, one of the goals of Epic Fury, you said going into it was to destroy Iran's ballistic missiles and its capabilities to build more.
Yeah.
Why is it acceptable to you now that they keep some of that capability? And Iran is
What are they keeping? What are they keeping? They have less than other nations now. We knocked out probably 84, 85% of their missiles. The rest of them are underground. They can't even get them out. You know, the other night's raid, I think it was on the first night, we knocked out hundreds of their missiles. Actually, by mistake, we were hitting an area that, you know, you can sort of see when the bombs are going off, and then you see one that looks like, wow, what happened? A lot of missiles knocked out. No, but what are you going to do? Let's spend another 2 weeks and give them. They don't want to be firing missiles right now. They're going to have a hard time rebuilding. And the people from the Middle East, you know, if people want to invest, and again, they don't have to invest at all. But if they do want to invest, it does have oil. It does have probably a future, but it's going to take a long long time. But are you going to let the 91 million people starve to death? I mean, one of the things I was very intent on, they have water desalinization plants, very good ones. I could have knocked them out in 5 minutes, just like I knocked out Cargill and I knocked out everything but the oil. I said, 25, it was so complete. The only thing there is the pipes coming with the oil because I didn't want to ruin the world market because they do a lot of money. But I didn't want to do that, no. It would have been so easy. It would have been easier, and I would have satisfied a group of 10% of the people, but it would have been the wrong thing to do. And it could have caused an international depression. Maybe not.
Iran's position has always been that their nuclear program is for civilian purposes. If they come back after signing this and say they want to continue to have a civilian nuclear program, is that acceptable to you?
Well, I've said to them always, I say, look, you have probably the third largest oil reserves in the world. What the hell do you need nuclear for? You need nuclear for some electricity. So I've always felt that way. So we've been pretty tough in that. It is a little hard, though, when you say that somebody wants it, other people have it, other adjoining states have it, and you're not letting them have it for purposes of electricity and things like that. It's always a little tough. You have to use a little common sense, please. New York Times, please.
Thank you, Mr. President, for the question. Now they...
All right, so that's very important. One of them was, as he said, like, the war with Lebanon, like, it was very minor. Like, I still don't understand, like, why it is taking so long. And the answer is Israel, because Israel wants the war keep going, and one of the best leverage he has to make sure the war is going is to attack Lebanon, so Iran responds, so the war continues. And he really said, like, Israel is overreacting to some of that, and then we can settle this. Also, one other thing was, when they asked why can't they have a nuclear plant, nuclear energy, say you have a lot of oil, you're third one, so why are you insisting on having nuclear energy? But on that note, also, however, there's so many countries around, they have the nuclear energy, why can't they? Like, this is what I was saying. Like, if you say to Iran, every country around you, they can have it. Pakistan has even nuclear bomb. But you just cannot have any nuclear energy. Even if they don't need that, they want that because they say it is my right. Why can't everyone have it except me? So for that reason, he said it is unfair to say no, don't do that. And about the missile capability, he said, like, okay, what should I do? Should I bomb for 2 more weeks? Yeah, sometimes you have the operation, you strike, and you don't get your goal. So what should you do? Should you double down every time that you fail on one policy or on one strategic operation? I mean, seriously. They wanted to get rid of all the missiles, right? Missiles stockpiles, and they couldn't. What should they do? Should they keep bombing forever? And as he said, the time is very key. By mid-July, we would run out of the oil reserve.
You're approaching a new phase in this conflict with Iran. Can you now say whether you will hold anyone in your administration accountable for the strike on a school that killed more than 100 children on the first day of the war?
No, if it was a fault, and as you know, that's under investigation. It's such a strange question to be asked at this state. It's talking about a long time ago, but nobody did that on purpose. I guess you'd have to say about them. What about the thousands of soldiers that they blew up when they opened that car door? What about the thousands of people that were killed by Iran? No, mistakes are made. The war's nasty. But I know it's under investigation, and I could have a report for you tomorrow. I would ask Pete Hegseth that question because they have it under investigation. Please.
Mr. President, you've been saying all week that this deal permanently prevents Iran from getting a nuclear weapon, but the drafts of the deal that have been floating around barely mention Iran's nuclear program. So can you explain how exactly the deal achieves that goal?
So when I say permanently, it should be permanently. But if it's not permanently, we will bomb them. They will be bombed, just like I bombed them on Wednesday night and Tuesday night, and was going to bomb them on Thursday night at a level that was 3 times greater, and they knew that. I will bomb them. Now, that's with me as president. If you have a weak, pathetic president, maybe that doesn't happen, but I can only do the job that I have to do. I have a long time to go. I have almost 3 years, close to 3 years. Time is going fast. But our country's becoming the most respected country in the world. Those leaders today, they say we used to laugh at you. 2 years ago, they don't seem right. They laugh at the country. And now they say you're the most respected country anywhere in the world. Militarily, even military. Take a look at what happened look at what happened in so many different locations. Afghanistan, that horrible retreat that these people made, leaving equipment behind. They weren't under any pressure. You take your time. You can get out. I was going to get out. We were going to get out with dignity and pride. Take 100% of the equipment. I was even taking the tents down. But then they got in and they just left. They left all the equipment. I may get all that equipment back. Now, here's the thing. More symbolic, because it's a little old now. But we may get it all back. Afghanistan is kissing our ass. You know that?
So you're threatening to bomb Iran if they don't comply, but there's nothing enforceable in the deal itself. Is that correct?
Doesn't have to be. I let them know. I said, look, if you don't adhere to the agreement, I don't want to do that, but we're going to bomb the hell out of you. And I don't think that they're going to veer from the agreement. What else am I going to do? Am I going to take you to court? Let me take you to court. Let me sue you.
Yeah.
No, we're going to bomb the hell out of them if they violate the agreement. I don't want them to. I want them to honor the agreement. Again, the Straits close up. Bad things can happen. You're in war. Terrible things happen. Like you mentioned the question before about the school gets hit.
Because even if Iran doesn't comply, what is the solution to that? In the end of the day, other countries, with the joint operation, they start a war with Iran. This is how it works. Like, even if they don't comply, the worst case scenario is the war. So he said, why should I go through all the process to do the stuff in United Nations to everybody gets together so we could have the joint military operation against that country when whole world... First of all, it never happens because China and Russia will veto that. But even if it did, in the end of the day, they're going to attack. None of the countries that are even close to the firepower that we have, United States, right? So, like, for example, the United States should wait for Italy to join. Like, what can Italy or France or Germany, what can they do? What can they help? What do they have that United States doesn't have it? So he said, I do the shortcut. In the end of the day, whatever we deal and they don't listen and we convince the world they should be attacked, we can do it right now. And then all other countries together, they cannot be that much helpful compared to the difference between our level of military and the other countries. So Like, what else do you expect?
Other things get hit. Bad things happen in war. War's a nasty place. I see it. I see it better than maybe anybody who's ever seen it. Go ahead, please.
Thank you, President Trump. Oil prices are now plummeting. How do you see this agreement further affecting energy prices in the U.S. and the U.S. economy in the long term? And secondly, Mr. President, how do you think Vice President J.D. Vance did on The View yesterday?
Well, first of all, thank you for the word plummeting because that's what's happening. Oil prices are plummeting. And
It's not that important. It's just he's saying the oil is down.
gas stations. One was one.
We are bringing it down.
And now they can never have any nuclear. No, we had a disturbance, but I must say it was much less than anybody thought. They all never went to
And he's saying we were expecting $300 for a barrel of oil.
$350. The stock market.
The stock market didn't crash.
A week ago. The word affordability is a fake word made up by the Democrats.
20-30%. And there was some affordability I inherited from Biden. And as soon as I got to the office, now all the problems with affordability is my fault. Eggs was already high when I got to the office and I brought it down. This is what he said.
They say highest insurance rates in history, highest regulatory thing follows the cost of energy. You're from ABC.
Snap back immediately if there is a delay or collapse in the talks. And then relatedly, is there any...
Because you can't cover everything in a document. It's common sense. They don't want to get bombed.
And they said, why in your memorandum is not everything included? He says, well, because after when we sign in Geneva, we want to start the negotiation for 60 days, which is expandable.
They don't want people with please. What happens as soon as they behave? When they behave, we're going to let that go.
He said, do you expect me to not let them have any money, like let 91? This is exactly what everyone was saying, and he was actually...
I put sanctions on.
I think now he started off... No, never mind. I wanted to say he started off them, now he wants to let them know that he knows everything. So he's not stupid, but in June 2025, before 12 days war, exactly this is how it looked. It looked like there is a daylight between Benjamin Netanyahu and Trump, but later we found out it was all a trap for Iran to be off guard, to be caught off guard.
Responded. My question is about the Strait of Hormuz.
And he said, did you ask other countries, especially Japan, to join and help you? He said, we asked, but too little late. And he said, what was his name? Prime Minister of England, Keir Starmer or something. He said, I will help you with my ship, like Navy ship, after the war is over. So are you serious? Like, all I need is during the war. What's the point of having, like, symbolically...
Did you ask other G7 nations to...
Follow what was going on. The Prime Minister said, they'll be there as soon as the war is over. I said, did you say that? I couldn't believe it, actually. A little bit. Arab states have got...
President, question on Brazil.
I expect Robert's not after we left. I just said goodbye to him.
About the Brazil, he talks about, like, they are putting in prison their political opponent.
Heard the best in elections. Thank you.
Any of the leaders expressed any concerns on the possible violation of international law on the attack on Iran?
No, actually the opposite. They felt they were very dangerous. They were very relieved because they could get hit too. They were very relieved. No, we never discussed that.
Whole world is begging just for the war to be finished. Nobody at this point, at least, is worried about, like, international.
No, it'd be the opposite. They broke the law. They killed thousands of people. They killed thousands of our soldiers and hundreds of thousands of people. Yeah, please go ahead. Go ahead.
Mr. President,
yes.
Yesterday, the Pakistan thanks for the Chinese government to help make a peace talk between Iran and the United States. So what do you think about China's work to get the United States and Iran sitting down to talk and make the deal? And the second question
Okay, let me answer the question.
Okay.
So I think China's been terrific. I told you that before. They could have been bad. They could have said
He says, when I asked China and Russia to not help Iran, they almost agreed. It means I know that they help, but they could have more to make it more difficult for us.
they tried and block or break. President Xi helped me. He tried to help, and I think he probably helped get it solved. You know, they get 50% of their oil from that location. So that wasn't that easy. President Xi was fantastic. He tried to help me solve it. And he didn't give any big weaponry. I guess we'll find something somewhere along the line, but he didn't give any big weaponry. I can tell you that. No, I think China I couldn't ask so much more. Again, they were impacted because they get more than 50% of their oil from the Hormuz Strait. And no, I thought they were fantastic.
Generic congressional ballot, they just have now just a 2-point lead since February. Do you think that they're losing momentum?
Well, I see the Republicans in generics. You know, generics are very important. I don't know how accurate, because I see a lot of bad polls. The polls are very dishonest, just like a lot of reporters like these people over here are very dishonest. CNN, ABC, it's a whole group of them over there that are really dishonest people. But, you know, and really networks are very dishonest. And they have to straighten themselves out, and they're not going to be very successful because people don't believe them anymore. But no, the generics are very interesting because the Republicans are coming up strong even before this. You know why they're seeing all these lunatics, like the guy in Maine with the swastika? You know, for 10 years they've been calling me a Nazi. And now they have a Nazi running. He's got a tattoo on him. I've been denying it for 10 years. They know it's not so, but they've been going, I don't think they can call it.
Thank you, President Trump. I have a question about this weekend. Why not
That was not related to the Iran deal.
stick...
Better to me.
The topic of today is about Iran deal. It was just about the polling in Republicans are going to lose rightfully, so they deserve to lose. They betrayed us.
That he's been to Biden. Give me any more? You know, one more? One more? Go ahead, Peter. Let me finish with Peter because he's been better to me than he's been to Biden.
Thank you, President Trump. I have a question about this weekend. Why not stick around for the signing ceremony with this Iran peace deal?
I might.
You might?
Yeah, I might. But I'd rather, this is a memorandum of understanding. It's very important, but it might not be the kind of document that I should be signing.
Is there some element to this where you send the vice president? If it works out, great, you look like a genius for sending him. And if it doesn't work out, it's the vice
I
president.
like that idea, sure. Well, he's never once said I'm going to take the credit. If it doesn't work out, I'm blaming JD. You better be careful, JD. He's going to turn his plane around and get the hell out of here. Yeah, I like that idea.
Look at the guy on the left, the guy who was in the late night show I was talking about. Look at the little Marco Rubio, like he's acting. You remember when the Trump in 12 days war bombed Iran with the B2, like everybody as Pete Hegseth or Marco Rubio, they were like hype, but J.D. Vance, who is anti-war, he was upset. You could see that. Right now, it's exactly his face. He's acting like, oh, trust me, I'm upset. Maybe that's their game. I don't know, but so.
I think it's a good idea. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
All right, so that was my reaction to everything he answered, and I think what he answered was very more important. That was more important and more fruitful than entire his lecture. So I mean, still is a long road, and you don't know that what Zionists are capable of, but already they are at it. Like I saw that Babylon B with those stupid, not funny jokes, humors. They were massaging Trump all the time, but right now they're attacking so many people. Like you can see, they came out of the cave and now they started attacking Trump. And I'm not defending even Trump. I'm just sitting back to get attacked because he decided to attack us in defense of them, and now they are attacking him. He expects us to come and then say, okay, now it is our turn to defend. No, we are not going to do that. You can have the fight by yourself. I don't mind even you don't get Democrats get into the House. If Republicans were really worried about what Democrats going to do to the country and to the Republicans after the midterm, then they should have listened to us. You cannot do everything that you want and not listen to us, but they still expect us to defend you. No, I'm not your soldier. You know what I'm saying? I'm an American. I'm a patriot, and then I reject that idea. Like I'm not a slave to the party. You should have listened to us. So even if the memorandum gets signed and after that get to the peace deal and then we go out of there, everything gets better. Still, it shows Trump is capable of backstabbing his base. So I wouldn't be surprised right after the midterm again he comes back where he was, because remember, prior to this conversation, Trump was nothing close to what we expected, what we voted for, what he was during his campaign. He completely shifted, turned to a neocon hawks. That's why so many people, lifelong supporters, they started to be against him, like Tucker Carlson. And now all of a sudden he learned his lesson and now he's attacking them and he cares about the country, local issues, and he's saying stuff that we have been saying to him up to the midterm. And after that, if he survives the midterm again, he's going to go back. So that's the problem with the distrust. One time you betray somebody, they cannot never trust you anymore, because what stops you from doing it again? And I think Trump will do it again. Right now he knows that he will be impeached, so he has to do something. Plus, as he said in the beginning, the oil reserve, it will be gone by mid-July, so he doesn't have that much time. He doesn't have any leverage. Like the only way what he can do is just nuking, then we go to the World War III. But other than that, he bombed every target they had multiple times, but still Iran is launching the rocket. So they realize that it is not winnable war, and like Zionists don't care. They don't care about the war. Like when he said, I told them we're gonna run out of the oil in 1 month if we keep using the reserve oil, and then the price of the oil gonna go to 300 something. And they said, well, we don't care. Still, you have to bomb. And said, bomb till when? How long should I bomb? What am I gonna achieve from bombing for 2 more weeks that I haven't? And people say we don't care. So for that reason, I think the Trump is desperate and he has to listen, but still I don't trust him. I don't trust him. I neither trust him nor the Israeli lobby, that I can like sleep easy to know that, oh, they are not going to do anything. Definitely they will sabotage that, but let's see. We wait till Friday to see if they sign. Thank you, and as always, as above, so below.